This is visible, audible for everyone, right? So last session we started about exception, right? So we completed about the OOPS part 2. So after the OOPS part 2, we started about the concept that is called exception. Exception. Okay. So in the exception, so we understood few of the points, like what are the points we should be familiar. So here, whenever we are developing any applications, there is a chance of getting some errors, guys. There is a chance of getting some errors. So when exception occurs, the program will be terminated abnormally. Programmer will be terminated abnormally. The same thing I am writing here. Whenever we are developing any application, there is a chance of there is a chance of getting getting there is a chance of getting errors. Okay, so when exception occurs when exception occurs, the program will be terminated abnormally. The program will be terminate abnormally. Program will be terminate abnormally. Okay, next thing is, so exception is a mechanism where actually we can create the exception object and that we can handle the exception. So the next point is, exception is the mechanism to create object of exception and handle the exception so that it will not disturb it will not disturb so that it will not disturb normal flow of the program normal flow of the normal flow of the program. Are you guys clear with my statements? We are discussing about the exceptions. Whenever we are developing any application, there is a chance of getting errors. When exception occurs, the program will be terminated abnormally. Already we know what is abnormal termination and what is graceful termination. What is abnormal termination and what is graceful termination. Okay, exception is the mechanism to create the object of exception and we can handle the exception so that it will be disturbed so that it will not disturb normal flow of the normal flow of the program normal flow of the program. Okay, okay, fine. Now the next question is, what is exception? Next question is, what is exception? Exception is unwanted or unexpected situation, unexpected situation, unexpected event. Exception is unwanted or unexpected event occurs during the during execution of the program, execution of program, execution of program. That is at runtime. At runtime. So exception is unwanted or unexpected event occurs during the execution of program, that is at runtime. So disturb which will disturb exception will disturb which will disturb execution flow of the programmer's execution, which will disturb the normal flow of the program, which will disturb the execution of execution of programs instruction programs instruction. Are you guys clear with my statements what I'm saying? Exception meaning unwanted or unexpected situation, unexpected event occurs during the execution of the program, that is at runtime, which will disturb the execution of programmer's instruction. So already we know what is graceful termination and what is abnormal termination. What is graceful termination and what is abnormal termination. Also, this is graceful termination and this is abnormal termination. This graceful termination is also called as successful termination. Successful termination. Okay, so the controller will be terminated after program execution. Okay, the control will terminate after program execution. After program execution is called graceful termination. As a developer, we are the responsible for graceful termination. Abnormal termination meaning the controller will terminate, the program will be terminated abnormally. The program will terminate middle of the program, middle of the execution is called abnormal termination. As a developer, we are the responsible for graceful termination. So now you guys are clear with the graceful termination, and you guys are very familiar with abnormal termination, and you guys have the idea on exception. Exception is an unwanted or unexpected event occurs during the execution of the program, that is at runtime, which will disturb the execution of the program's instruction. Okay, program's instruction. Now there is a question, what is the difference between exception and error? Now the next question is, what is error? Error meaning, error is the irrecoverable conditions. Error means it is the irrecoverable conditions are like JVM out of the memory issues, okay, memory issues and memory leaks, okay, and overstack flows. So generally, as a programmers don't have any control on the errors. Okay, programmers don't have any control on programmers don't have any control on errors, meaning errors we cannot handle. Okay, but in case of exceptions, we can handle the exceptions, and then we can achieve the graceful termination. So here we can handle the exceptions. Next point is, as a programmer. We are the responsible for. As a programmer, we are responsible for graceful termination. As a programmer, we are responsible for graceful termination. As a programmer, we are responsible for graceful termination. So these are the points you have to remember, guys. What is exception? Exception is an unwanted or unexpected event occurs during the execution of the program, that is at runtime, and which will disturb the execution of program instructions. And next, we can handle the exceptions. As a programmer, we are responsible for the graceful termination. And in case of exceptions, why we are doing the exceptions? Because our agenda is, in exceptions, our agenda is to achieve graceful termination, guys. In exceptions, our agenda is to achieve graceful termination. To achieve graceful termination. This is our agenda. Okay. So if you write any program, all the statements should be execute. If not execute, you are the responsible. You are the responsible. So these are the some points which is about the exceptions. Okay. What is exception? And next, what is error? And there is a question, some interviews they will ask, like what is the difference between exception and error also, that I can show you. Normally can go with any of that, and then what is the difference between exception and error in Java, then you can get the so these are the irrecoverable, and this we can handle. Okay. Unchecked type, these we can see in checked and unchecked. This will occur at runtime only, and this will occur at a compile time and runtime only. And so these are the some differences. See here, there are 4 differences we have. I hope this is visible for everyone, right? This I can open in new window. Yeah, now if you see here, this is error is irrecoverable condition, and this is recoverable, meaning we can handle the exceptions. Next one is, this is only unchecked. So there is a types of exceptions, unchecked and checked exceptions, so that we can see. And errors are the type of unchecked, but this is the type of checked and unchecked, and this will occurs only the runtime. Whenever you are running the program, so then only you can able to get the errors. But in case of exceptions, it can occur at the time of compilation and runtime as well. Next, caused by the application at the running environment. And this exceptions will comes itself, application itself. Okay, these are the some differences in between errors and exceptions, guys. Errors and exceptions. Now next question is exception hierarchy. Next question is exception hierarchy. This is also very important. Exception hierarchy. So in case of exceptions, all the exceptions parent class is iterable, and after that iterable, next parent one is exception. So this exception have again 2 types. One is checked exception, and second one is unchecked exception. Checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked and unchecked. That normally checked and unchecked exceptions. That I can show you here. Exception hierarchy in Java. Throwable. If you can come to here, this is the diagram for that one. If I could open this one, see here, object is the parent of superclass for all the classes available in Java, and after that throwable, and after that exceptions and errors. Again, exceptions is divided into two types: checked exception, unchecked exceptions. Errors are like JVM, memory issues, and session error. These all comes under the category of this one. This is throwable. You can say this is object and this is the throwable. And here this is exception. This is error. Next, this is, it is divided into two types, guys: checked exception, and second one is unchecked exception. Unchecked exception. Okay, and in case of error, it has like JVM memory issues, JVM out of the memory, JVM out of the memory, and memory leaks. These are the types for the errors. Okay, this is exception hierarchy, guys. Object is the parent for all the classes available in Java, and after the object, throwable is the interface for all the exceptions, and throwable is the parent of the exception and error. And again, under the throwable, we have, there are two types, that is the exception, and second one is the error. Again, exception is divided into, there are two types: checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Next, this is exception hierarchy, yes. You have to remember, this is the exception hierarchy. Now there is the next question: what is the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions? Checked and unchecked exceptions. What is the difference between checked and unchecked exception? This is also very good question if you have like 4 or 5 years of experience or fresher level. So they will ask the questions in exceptions. Exceptions is a very important topic. Any interview if you can attend, so they can you can face the questions on the exceptions. Next one is checked exceptions, guys. Checked exceptions. Checked exceptions meaning, so these are the exceptions which can checked by the at compile time, compiler at compile time. These are the exceptions checked by the compiler at compile time. Checked by the compiler at compilation time. Okay, so checked exceptions are called compiler checked by the exceptions checked by the compiler at the compilation time. So like I would say examples for the checked exceptions are the I would say file leader exception, file leader. This is called file not found exception, file not found exception, and next class not found exception. class not found, exception. Okay, these all are we can say example for the checked exception. Next thing is we have unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions meaning these are the exceptions which cannot checked by the compiler at compilation. These are the exceptions which does not check by the compiler at compilation time is called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. So what are the examples for the unchecked exceptions? Arithmetic exceptions, null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception. And the next one is array index out of the bounds exception. Array index out of the bounds exception. So these are the exceptions we can say examples for the unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Okay, now the next heading is how you can handle the exceptions. How you can handle the exceptions. How we can handle the exceptions. So the answer is we can handle the exceptions using below keywords. We can handle the exceptions. We can handle the exceptions using below keywords. Using below keywords. What are the keywords we have? There are total 5 keywords. First one is the try keyword. Second one is catch keyword. Third one is finally. And fourth one is throw. And fifth one is throws keyword. Throws keyword. So what is the purpose of try keyword? Try keyword which is used to keep risky code or suspected code inside the try block, which is used to keep in risky code inside the try block, inside the try block, inside the try block. Okay, and next we have the catch. Catch is the keyword which is used to catch the exception. Catch the exception. Catch the exception. How it can catch? There is an internal process that I will tell you, where I can take one program and then through that I can tell you, which is used to catch the exception. Next up, finally block. So finally block which is used to execute the statements all the times, which is used to execute all the statements all the times, all the statements which whatever the statement we will be kept inside the try block, those statements will be execute all the statements inside the finally block, execute all the statements inside the final block all the time, whether exception is occur or not occur, whether exception occur or not occur. Okay, irrespective of exception. So whatever the I would say the statement you will be keep inside the finally block, that statement will be execute all the times, whether occurs or whether exception occur or not occur. Okay, so irrespective of exception, if you mention any statements inside that one, that will be I would say that will be execute all the times, that will be execute all the times. Next we have the throw keyword. Throw keyword which is used to create exception wantedly or programmatically, wantedly or programmatically, wantedly or programmatically. Next, throws keyword, which is used to hand over the checked exceptions, hand over the checked exceptions, checked exceptions to the caller method or JVM, to the caller method or JVM, or JVM. These are the total 5 keywords, guys. How you can handle the exceptions? There are 5 keywords we have. Those are like, I would say, try, catch. Next, I would say finally, throw and throws keyword. Throw and throws keyword. Try is the keyword which is used to keep risky code inside the try block, and catch, which is used to catch the exception, and finally which is used to execute all the statements available inside the final block that will be executed all the time. Next, a throw, which is used to create the exceptions wantedly and programmatically, and throws is used to uh, hand over the checked exceptions or unchecked exceptions to the like calling method, caller method or JVM, caller method or JVM. Okay, fine. Now we can go and then try to write one program and then try to use these exceptions. Okay. So first I am going with the unchecked exceptions. So I need to open my IDE. So there is a IDE, and then where actually there is a class as well. Now my class name is demo, and this is the main method. This is the skeleton of Java program. Okay, now we are going with the unchecked exception, that is called arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception meaning, for example, here I am taking sysout statement, and the program execution start here, execution start, or you can say program start here, and sysout statement, the program running. Next, sysout statement, the program end. Okay, if I run this one, now I can achieve graceful termination. So the total how many statements I kept inside the main block? There are 3 statements. So this is my expected output also. I want to print these 3 values. So as my expectations, it is printing the same thing or not? Yes. Okay, fine. So sometimes what I am doing here, I am mentioning 10 divided by 0. 10 divided by 0. So if I run this program, how many statements executed? Only one statement will execute it. But in my case, this is the line number 15 also I written some my business logic. But when exception occurs, exception is occurring in line number 30. Because of this exception, it is skipping remaining my business logic as well. That is not a good thing, right? Which means as a programmer, you are the responsible to execute all the statements. You are the responsible to execute all the statements. Because of this one, because of this one, program got terminated abnormally. Program got terminated abnormally. That is not a good program. So as you implemented one project and you implemented few of the classes and all the statements should be executed, your project also should be work fine. So that is our requirement. Final end of that is our goal, right? So that now this is a risky code, right? Because of this line, remaining statements also not executing. So wherever you found the risky code, that you can mention try block. you can take try block, and this is the scope of the try block. So inside the try block, you can keep the risky code. And when you kept the risky code inside the try block, make sure you have to take catch. Okay, you have to take the catch block, and here you need to catch the exception. So when you want to handle the exceptions, so there one pair should be mandatory. The pair is try and catch. Try and catch. So here you can mention exception E, and this is the scope of catch block. And here you can mention any of that message. Like for example, here I am mentioning. So we cannot divide it by 0. We cannot divide it by 0. So this is the message I want to display. So simply if I run this program, now in this case you can see here all the statements is executing or not. Yes, this is our agenda. If any, because of any line, the program if terminate abnormally, then you have to write the exception and you have to execute all the statements smoothly by using exceptions. I hope you guys are clear. Now come to here, and what is happening internally inside the try block. So what is happening inside try block actually? So this is what 10 divided by 0, meaning this is arithmetic exception. So in Java, they provided some of the predefined arithmetic exceptions. So when the compiler will see this one, so immediately what it will do, it will create internally one object. It will create internally one object with the name of arithmetic exceptions. So that should be like this: arithmetic exception and new arithmetic exception. So one object will be created, and this is one exception will be who is doing this one internally. Try block is doing this operation. So based on the exception, it will be create one exception object, and it will be thrown. It will throw that exception. It will throw that exception. It will throw that exception. So that is what exception? That is arithmetic exception, right? That is arithmetic exception. Okay. Are you guys clear with my statements? This will be thrown the exception, and this is throwing the exception. Try block will throw the exception. Catch block will catch that exception. So which exception it is catching? So here you can mention the object here. Okay, so that I can mention here. Throw a, meaning object created and object is throwing, and whatever the object is throwing, that object you can catch. That object you can catch. That is AE, and the data class name of this exception is arithmetic exception. We can mention either arithmetic exception or arithmetic exception parent one is exception. You can mention either arithmetic exception or exception. Okay, this is the process happens internally. Okay, fine. Now where I would go here, and here, so what happens internally? Arithmetic exception object will be created. So this will be thrown and this will be catch, and here you can mention arithmetic exception. So you have to throw. So that's it. Okay, this is the process happens. If I run this one, you can able to get this. You can able to get this. Okay, I hope you guys are clear. Like how you can handle. For example, here if I mention final block, one try block can contain number of catch blocks. But try when you write the try block, one catch block will be mandatory. Next catch block, finally block. So inside the finally block, I would mention sysout statement. Finally block statements is executing. So here, irrespective of exception will be thrown or not thrown, this will be execute all the times. For example, now I will not catch this one. Basically, if you not catch this one also, then what happens? So this statements will be execute all the times. So if I run this one, so irrespective of exception occur or not occur, it will execute all the times. Program start here, you cannot divide it by 0, and finally final block code is executing, and the program got end. I hope you guys are clear with the statement, right? If I am coming to here, arithmetic exception is okay. Next one is null pointer exception. Null pointer exception meaning, for example, I hope you guys are clear with this arithmetic exception. So once you are familiar with this arithmetic exception, now I am removing this one. Now arithmetic null point exception. Null point exception meaning I am taking string name equal to, I am mentioning as the null. So according to the Java standards, we cannot perform any operation on the null values. So here what I am doing, I am doing some operations, meaning there is the value is nothing, that is null. But I am trying to do the some operations on the null values. Operations on the null values. So obviously it will throw the null point exception. If I run this one, you can see here if I go down. So see here null point exception. Null point exception. So this code, this is the risky code, right? Because of these two lines, our program is not executing, right? Yeah. Now what I do, try block, and inside you can keep uh, the risky code, and here also you can mention catch keyword, and this is the scope of the catch, and the class name of this one is java.long.null pointer exception. Null pointer exception, and here you can mention some message, hey Dabba fellow, we cannot perform any operations on null values. Okay, so simply I'm saving this one, and then if I run this one, so see here, this is all about null pointer exception. This is all about null pointer exceptions. So after that null pointer exception, next there is a array index out of the boundary exception. That is also like for example, so how to create the array? Int and AR equal to new int the size of the array, or yeah, size of the array, that is some 5 size. Okay, now you are trying to, the index position of this array is 4, right? Yes. Now you are trying to print the value of array of index position, the value at a 5. The last index position of this array value is 4, 4, but we are trying to access the values 5. Now in this case we are trying to access that value. It will throw the error, that is what, array index out of the bounds. A double fellow, that array have only 4 index positions, but you are trying to access 5th index position. So this code can kept inside the try block, and here you can take catch block, and you can take the class of this one, and this is the scope of catch block, and here you can pass the message, we cannot access out of the bounds values. You can save this one, and then this is all about array index out of the bounds exception. This is clear, right? This is all about unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exception meaning even compiler also don't know. Even compiler also don't know some kind of exceptions is called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. So in case of IDE, what it will do when we are writing the program, parallel it can do the compilation as well. But in case of unchecked exceptions, when you write the program, it will not throw the exception, because it will not throw the any compilation issues, because compiler also don't know some issues. Such kind of exceptions comes. You can say as the example for the unchecked exceptions. Next, checked exceptions. Checked exception meaning, so the compiler will throw the exceptions immediately. For example, the program start here, and here I want to mention file reader. I want to load one file to my Java program. File reader fr equal to new file reader, and here I am giving some file name razu.txt. See here, immediately import the file reader, and it is throwing the error immediately, because this is not available in my local, and immediately it is also throwing the error. Immediately it is throwing the error. So in that case, what you can do, this you can kept inside the try block, and catch that catch keyword, I would say. So see here, file not found exception. Copy this one, and this you can keep inside the try block. Here also mention file not found. This is some dummy message I'm passing. You have to import the statement. That's it. Okay, so these are actually wherever like that might be the checked or unchecked exception. So because of that, the program will terminate abnormally. You have to handle smoothly like this. So simply wherever it is throwing the exception, that code that is might be like 2 lines or 3 lines. That risky code or suspected code you can keep inside the try block. And when you kept inside that try block, and internally we have the it will be created one object based on the exception, and object will be created and object will be thrown. That object will be catched by the this one, and here we can mention the some message. We can mention the message. So this is all about some examples about checked and unchecked exceptions. I hope you guys are clear. Checked and unchecked exceptions. Next, once you are familiar with this, we done with the three keywords: try, catch, and finally. I hope everybody is also clear with these three keywords. Once you are familiar with these three keywords, next there is a keyword called throw keyword. Throw keyword generally which is used to create the exceptions wantedly or programmatically. For example, I am taking one program here. I am taking one method, public void check age method, and this is the scope of check age method. And here I'm passing the parameter for checking the age int age, and here I'm taking the condition. The condition is if age is greater than 21, then I need to display the message is you are eligible for the voting, you are eligible for marriage or voting, anything you can mention. Okay, next if not below the 21, then you can display the message is you can display the message is sysout statement. Sysout statement, you can pass the message you are not eligible for the you are not eligible for the marriage. So this is the thing, right? This is the normal actually, but I don't want to display like this. I want to create exception. The same message I want to create exception, and through the exception I want to display the same message. So in that case I need to create the exception programmatically. How I can create? There is a keyword called throw keyword and new, and you can take any exception like arithmetic exception or anything. So in my case I'm taking like as some arithmetic exception. So inside I can mention some message that is you are eligible for the marriage. So simply you have to import. Okay, so this is the purpose of throw keyword. The same message I can able to display sysout statement also, but if you want to display the same message through exception, you have to create the exception programmatically or wantedly by using throw keyword. So simply now I can run this program, and that this message will be this is check age, right? And there is a take main method. Inside the main method you can able to call the main method, and inside the main method create the object for new demo, and there is a shortcut for creating object, and demo dot check age. Here I am passing the age is like some 25, and I am saving this one. And then if I run this one, if you can see here, how it is displaying. This is displaying in red color. This is, if you want to display in red, I would say in this format through exception, then we need to create exception programmatically. How you can create? This is the syntax: throw keyword and create object. Inside the create object, whatever the message you want, that message you can pass, and when you can run the program, that will be created, and that will be thrown. Okay, yeah, this is all about throw keyword. And next there is a concept called throws keyword, guys. Throws keyword, which is used to hand over the checked exceptions to the caller method RGB. For example, here I would go and then I am taking. So once you are familiar with this one, so here I'm taking one more method, public void check file is the method I'm taking, and here I'm taking file reader, file not found, that is file reader. The file name is rani.txt. File name is rani.txt. If you see here, immediately it is throwing the error. So here, if you can read this one, which is used to hand over the checked exceptions to the caller method. How you can do that one? So use throws exception, throws file not found exception, file not found exception. Yeah, see the error gone or not? Yes, error gone. So basically this I am handling, but not immediately. At the time of calling of that method, at the time at the time I can able to handle, but immediately I am not handling. So that is the definition here. I said like which is used to hand over the checked exceptions to the caller method or JVM, to the caller method or JVM. Okay, so file reader, and then now call that method demo dot check file. So here we need to, here we cannot handle, but at the time of calling of that method you need to handle that. So surrounded with try and catch block. That's it guys. I'm saving this one, then if I can able to run this program, then you can able to get this one. This is the total 5 keywords, guys, very important. So we will use all the any project. If you see here, all the projects will use exceptions. All the projects can use the exceptions. Okay, so today what you guys will do, you can practice with the programs with all the 5 keywords, and then do the programs and submit in the portal. So this is your assignment, right? So what are the pending topics we have? I can say file handling, and next we have multi-threading, and we have collections and sublets. These are the pending topics we have. Okay, yeah.